From Kalamazoo, direct to you, it's a WKZO.com quickcast.
We bring in Senate Majority Leader Mike Bishop. Mike Bishop, according to the governor, it's all your fault.
I've heard that line before.
Where do I even want to go with this? According to the latest thing that I saw in the Lansing State Journal today, she's going to sign the budget. It will be soon, yet nobody quite knows exactly what she's going to use a veto pen on. Am I right on that?
That's correct. She has until Saturday at midnight to finish off the budgets. We don't know exactly where she's going to go on these budgets.
And if you had to surmise, if you had to just all and out guess, I mean, do you have an idea as to what is going to get vetoed? And what's the process then after she sends it back to you?
Well, I think if I had to guess, I would say that she'll sign all the budgets. She won't veto any of them outright. She's already promised not to do that. What she decides to do on specific areas of the budget, I'm not really sure. There's been all kinds of threats out there, but we tried to let her know that if she vetoes, she has to accept the fact that she probably won't get those areas refunded.
And then, do we have a budget at that point in time? If she vetoes,
yes.
Okay, so if she vetoes and it comes back to you, there's still a budget. The state doesn't shut down. We don't have to do another continuation. And we move on.
Right. We have balanced budgets, and the departments are funded. Just certain areas that she has independently and unilaterally decided to defund will go without any funding.
Now, the education budget was interesting because I think I saw the quote from you that said, "Look, we're running a surplus. The governor says we're actually running a deficit, and it's underfunded." Is the truth somewhere in the middle here, or what?
Well, the truth is that we have for years, and I don't remember ever this not being the case, but we budget based on the May Revenue Estimating Conference, and that still is in effect today. So the May Revenue Estimating Conference suggests that we have about $100 million surplus in the school aid fund, and she decided to have her treasurer send her a letter and advise her that that was not in fact the case, that their numbers showed differently. I don't dispute the fact that our numbers have been down. What I'm concerned about is that she's decided this year for the first time to send a pro rata cut to the schools using the independent information provided to her by the treasurer and the state budget director. And it's never been done before, and it was on the heels of a cut to the 20J, another huge cut to the schools, and it was just piling on at that point, causing major damage to the school communities. And I just, to this day, I don't know why she did it other than for political posturing.
You mean there's politics involved in this?
Yeah,
really?
The unfortunate part, you see politics all the time. You just don't usually see it to this extent in this budget of all budgets, the one that impacts kids.
Now, I've said on multiple times in the show, and we're talking with the Senate Majority Leader Mike Bishop, that both sides are playing a little bit of politics. Is there posturing going on for a gubernatorial election next year? I mean, you can now say if this goes through and there is no revenue enhancements that you held firm on no increase in taxes.
But isn't that our responsibility?
Well, and the other side is going to say if there is a revenue enhancement that they were able to not have cuts in the schools. I mean, it really bodes for a gubernatorial election next year that could be of epic proportions.
I suppose it could, but the vast majority of our members believe that we have a constitutional duty to balance a budget, and that under the circumstances facing the state, the worst thing that we could do is balance it on the backs of taxpayers and job providers right now. And that's why we took the stand that we did. And frankly, that's why we passed our budgets balanced back in June. The governor has, to this day, not presented a balanced budget, nor has the House. So, politics aside, we did our job, and I think we did it well.
So we had something on paper in June.
Yes, we did. We had
what happened from June through September?
I can't tell you exactly why, but that was the decision of the administration and the House Democratic leadership not to present a balanced budget. The House finally agreed in a bipartisan way, which I give them credit for, finally agreed in about August to run the budgets based on the targets that we had set. So they never really had a budget of their own, and we passed the budgets according to the Senate-passed version, which, again, was a balanced budget without tax increases.
There was and I don't know if you got a chance to see this. This goes along with the business aspect of things. One of the CEOs from PNC out of Pittsburgh, it was in the Free Press yesterday, talking about revitalization of Detroit and how we need to bring business. We need to make a pro-business atmosphere in the city of Detroit. Now, with a surtax that is still involved on a Michigan business tax, how difficult is that to do, and will that ever go away?
To revitalize the city of Detroit, is that what you're saying?
Yes.
Yes.
And the state of Michigan in general, to be honest with you.
Well, right. And the state of Michigan has a 13-point-something% unemployment. The city of Detroit has 30% unemployment. And one of the biggest factors involved in that is that businesses have been chased out of this state. And one of the biggest factors for that is that we have a very onerous business tax that has had a dramatic impact on certain sectors of our economy. There's no question that's one of the major anchors hanging around our neck. We have a responsibility to fix that, especially that 22% surcharge that was placed on top of the business tax, which was the result of repealing the service tax, the governor's service tax.
Right. So, what do you do with that, though? And is that's not going to go away in this budget? Is that what you're telling me?
Well, the Senate Republicans made a proposal, and I mentioned this only because it is on the table right now, and the House could pass this as well. But the Senate sent over a repeal of the surcharge as a part of the budget proposal, and it is part of our balanced budget. So the House could pass that if they wanted to, and I think they should. And we believe it's part of our responsibility not just to balance the budget, but to send a clear message to the rest of the world that we're open for business and that we're not going to punish businesses for coming here or staying here.
And creating jobs here.
Right. It may put us in a position where we can actually compete in the 21st century.
All right. The other question I had for you, I think it was a couple of months ago, you and Andy Dillon sat down behind closed doors. Governor was someplace else, and I forget, Japan maybe. And you had an agreement to agree. Those meetings, how were those meetings? I mean, you're talking about two guys, different parties, with a similar job. Did you get, was that overblown as far as that agreement goes? Or did the governor, I guess I'm asking, did the governor come back and put the kibosh on something like that?
I've always had a great relationship with the speaker, and we've been able to do a lot, get a lot done. And I give him a great deal of credit for stepping up and agreeing upon the numbers that he did to get these budgets done. And we got those budgets passed into the governor's desk according to our agreement. And again, I give him great credit for orchestrating that on his side. And yes, this was contrary to what the governor wanted, and she decided unilaterally that she was going to do what she had to do to unwind certain areas of our agreement. It's unfortunate because you have a stable environment having just passed budgets in very difficult circumstances in a bipartisan, bicameral way. And then you have the administration swoop down and blow part of it up. It's unfortunate, and it's counterproductive.
Talking to the Senate Majority Leader Mike Bishop here on 590 KZO. So what happens next? I'd heard 2010 is going to be something that is going to be astounding, but we've got a lot of work to do before we even get there.
There's no question we have plenty to do, and we need to stabilize right now. And I encourage the governor in the next couple of days as she considers what to do with the final budgets to put us in a position where we're stable. And the moment we've reached that stable point, we must begin to look forward and work together to create a more stable environment here in the long run. It's just too many years of addressing the short-term solutions and one budget crisis after the next. And given the fact that we do have a huge budget deficit and a structural deficit situation, it's our responsibility to turn that around. And the only way we're going to do it is if there's some clarity to the current situation first. And that will bring us all to the table to talk about long-term tax policy, long-term business development, and ways to turn the state around and get us back up on the road to recovery. Do
you see short-term any sort of increase in taxes?
I don't. Yesterday, the Senate took up the physician tax, and it was a bipartisan demolition of that tax. It went down with about three votes altogether. I don't see any votes for revenues right now. I've told the speaker and the governor that back all the way to June, and as long as we can balance this budget without revenue increases, there's no reason for it. The citizens of the state won't tolerate it. The businesses in the state are sick of it, and they expect more from us. And I just think it would send the wrong message at the wrong time.
Senate Majority Leader Mike Bishop, I appreciate the time today. I know you're busy. I know you got a lot of work to do, and it'll be interesting, I would imagine, the next couple of days. And then obviously the weeks pass here. You're gonna have a lot of stuff to. This budget's fluid. I mean, it will move. It will adjust, won't it?
It will adjust, but you know what? We're all in this together, and this isn't a Republican or Democrat crisis. This is all of our crisis situation, and we'll work together to make it happen.
All right, thank you. I appreciate it.
Okay, take care.
There you go, Senate Majority Leader Mike Bishop.